was a time of ending. The Imperium of Man, after 10,000 years of war against the onslaught of the mutant, the alien, and the heretic, had finally reached its breaking point. Despite the Imperium's might and the divine influence of the God Emperor, the toll of a multi-front war against cosmic horrors has proven insurmountable. Yet the most harrowing threats to humankind are not mere specters amongst the stars, but the ones that transcend through the boundaries of our very own material realm. Behold the Eye of Terror, a cosmic portal to the abyss of the whirling energies of chaos, harboring the malevolent and truly ancient, ruinous powers. Only the bastion world of Cadia, second only to Terra and its fortifications, keeps this gateway at bay. For millennia, it has stood as the vanguard against the encroaching darkness, the Eye's ominous purple glow casting an eerie shroud over the fortress world. And within, the immortal enemies of humanity plot their machinations, as the architects of our potential annihilation. But the seething fury that emanates from the Eye has found its match in the resolute hearts of those within the Imperium, and those who get to call Cadia home. In this citadel of strength, a Cadian child is raised amidst the echoes of vanished play and adolescence, replaced by a stark reminder and a solemn vow to shield their planet and the Imperium from those who dwell within the nearby abyss. But Cadia's proud legacy stands stalwart in the annals of time, a tale of warriors and legendary generals etched in the endless records of the Imperial Administratum. This history has become a guiding light for regiments of the Astra Militarum, known to the common people as the Imperial Guard. In the face of chaos, these soldiers, sculpted by the indomitable spirit of Cadia, stand resolute to face the next chapter of an empire teetering on the brink, where the battle lines blur between shadows and light. To many, the pen could be considered mightier than the sword, but to a Cadian, the lasgun is the mightiest of all weapons. By the tender age of 4, a child's hands grip not crayons, but the cold steel of a firearm's grip. Organized into militias and white shield platoons, these children endure grueling training in conditions that would break the faint-hearted. They don't just learn to shoot, but they are baptized in the fires of their history, laden with responsibility and instilled with an innate passion for their role and purpose as a people. As the sun sets on their innocence, these young warriors embark on a journey where leaving Cadia becomes an inevitability. Sent to far-flung war zones across the cosmic expanse, they serve the Emperor, beloved by all, and bask in the radiance of his glorious light. To perish in his service is their ultimate aspiration, a badge of honor willingly embraced by these valiant soldiers. Yet dejectedly a stalwart few endure, choosing to stand in the final bastion as a defense for Cadia itself. These iron-willed men and women, infused with grit, tenacity, and a capacity for violence matching the darkest horrors conjured by latent chaos sorcerers and scheming witches. To them, Cadia is an unyielding bulwark, a beacon, proclaiming humanity as the chosen people not just of this galaxy, but of all existence. Cadia, eternal and resolute, was believed to be impervious to the ravages of time, a fortress that would not crumble, a wall that would not break. However, the threads of fate have chosen to weave a different tale, for the Despoiler always harbors another insidious plan. In the face of impending doom, Cadia must stand defiant, a promise and duty to the Cadian people who believe they are the chosen guardians of the cosmos and instruments of the Emperor's divine will. Yet the question lingers, will this stronghold endure, or shall it succumb to the inexorable march of chaos?
That is the Eye of Terror, the prison of our enemy. We are the padlock that keeps them trapped. That's why they hate us.
All of us?
All.
Even Mother?
Yes, even Mother.
Does he hate me?
Yes, the Despoiler hates you.
He wants to take our world from us?
The Despoiler wants our world to burn. What do you see? Speak, child, have faith, the Emperor protects.
A face! That is the Despoiler!
What do you want to say to him? Who hates us all and wants to burn our world?
Never.
I cannot hear you.
Never!
Tell him.
Never! Never! Never!
Well done, child. Well done.
Sinister foreboding casts its shadow across the sector, heralding the rise of ominous signs that send an inescapable tension coursing through the very fabric of existence. In the heart of Belisar Majoris, astropaths found voices, echoing tales of peculiar sightings, waves of space hulks converging upon the hallowed ground of Cadia. Attempts to glean insights from the Eye of Terror, that noxious, pulsating terror in reality, were met with shock and horror, as for the first time, the skills and warp-peering visions of the astropaths remained shrouded in absolute darkness. The gifts bestowed by the God Emperor, Their sacred link to the golden throne and the soul of humanity proved useless in the face of this dark and horrifying omen. But as these omens grew ever darker, an insidious plague of unbelief began to infect the hearts of the Emperor's loyal servants, a weakness eagerly exploited by the servants of the God of Decay. The festering minions of Nurgle emerged as the harbingers of doom, with their champion Typhus at the forefront. A brutal ambush unfolded around the Fenrir's dust cloud, as Admiral Quarren and his fleet faced annihilation. But amidst the merciless onslaught, Quarren barely escaped the clutches of Typhus and his horrifying forces, with the remnants of his once proud fleet now reduced to naught but whispers and ash in the silent void. The stage was set for a cataclysmic clash, where the forces of chaos would test the mettle of the Imperium's staunch defenders in a dance of shadows and blood.
Congratulations! For you shall soon bask in the loving embrace of the great accepting grandfather Nurgle. What you perceive as horror, I do regard as a generous gift. These blessings, this assistance, I shall bestow upon the distant reaches of your mortal realm. Far beyond your comprehension, grand designs unfold for all, as I draw each soul into the grasp of our plague of unbelief.
As the whispers of the encroaching chaos echoed through the cosmos, planets across the Agrippina, Cadian, and Bellis Corona sectors found themselves ensnared in the clutches of a siege. The deep-rooted fear that had haunted Cadian High Command since the 12th Black Crusade, the Gothic War, materialized into stark reality. Even rumors of the Emperor's voice, resonating once more, spread like wildfire, igniting a fervor amongst the populace, rallying them against the local garrison forces in the name of the Revered One. But amidst the growing turbulence, Cadian High Command reached a breaking point. Orders flew like specters in the night. Fleets mustered. Regiments were hastily withdrawn from far-flung war zones, and a collective retreat toward the fortress world commenced. Breathless anxiety gripped the populace and the command structure as they braced for the impact of the Despoiler's 13th impending onslaught upon their home. Yet within the pandemonium that engulfed Cadian soil, an ancient power stirred. Across the planet, dormant structures that dotted Cadia and other worlds in the sector awoke, pulsating with latent energy, ready to fulfill a purpose long held in abeyance. Pieces began to fall into place to create a cosmic drama, one where the fate of Cadia hung in the balance, and an ancient power prepared to unveil its true purpose in the face of impending chaos. Across the expanse of Cadia, regiments mustered with military precision at Castor Tyrock. Millions of men and women stood resolute in formation, prepared to defend the fields they cherished, and if need be, dutifully sacrifice their lives for the Imperium. Despite the harrowing reports from neighboring sectors, hope burned bright within their ranks. 12 times the Despoiler had attempted his malevolent incursions, and 12 times the stalwart Cadians had pushed him back into the baleful eye. They were proven. They were invaluable. They had the conviction and drive that pulsed through every heart of every Cadian. They would be ready. And as the legendary Volscani cataphracts, celebrated heroes of Cadia, began to touch down on their hallowed soil, a festive air began to envelop the scene. Cadian High Command, eager to personally greet those revered champions, anticipated a joyous celebration, as the Volscani were known for their discipline, bravery, and unwavering devotion to the Imperium and the Emperor himself. Yet the Volscani, like all humans, were malleable, corruptible, and as they emerged from their ships, setting foot on the soil that was once their home, they unleashed a decapitating strike on the unsuspecting Cadian High Command. The massacre leaving Cadia's governors and officials dead, sending shockwaves through the Cadian people and their fighting forces. And the regimented soldiers who had lined up to honor these supposed heroes had hellfire rain down upon them, the dropshifts hovering above the field bombarding the regimented lines of men and women, slaughtering those that looked up to them like lambs. But in the chaos that ensued, a new hero would emerge to seize the reins of Cadia's destiny. Governor Ursakar E. Creed stepped forward, leading from the front lines against the traitorous Volscani forces. The battlefield became a brutal bloodbath as Cadia sent the turncoats to their graves, turning the fury of Cadia into a weapon against their enemies within. In a moment of desperate resolve, Creed was named Lord Castellan of Cadia, signaling a shift in the tides. With everything at stake, all bets were off, and the fate of Cadia hung in the balance, ready to be forged upon the anvil of Ursakar E. Creed's indomitable will.
Men and women of Cadia, we lost many today. Friends, sons, mothers, daughters, comrades. We withstood fire, bombardment, treachery, and cowardice. And we did not flinch. We did not turn to ask if another would step up and take our place. We stood, we fought, and we strode forward into battle. Today the High Command of Cadia has asked me to serve as Lord Castellan of Cadia. I have accepted the honor. What happened today was no accident. It was no chance. This was orchestrated by a mind that has planned and plotted for thousands of years. The Despoiler. It is the hour that we have long foreseen. The chance to prove ourselves his match. I offer you nothing but blood and battle. This is our part in a war that has lasted 10,000 years. And today, brothers, today, you have won a great victory that will be remembered for another 10,000 years, or as long as the Imperium of mankind shall last!
Yet the grip of chaos extended far beyond the borders of Cadia. This was not a mere Black Crusade or a fleeting raid, but it was a relentless campaign that ignited anarchy across the galaxy. Flames of destruction licked at many worlds, transforming the once serene cosmos into a blighted maelstrom of turmoil. The sanctity of Holy Terra, the very throne world of humanity, crumbled under the onslaught of demonic forces, reminiscent of the ancient adversaries the Emperor and his companions once faced. Meanwhile, Medusa, the homeworld of the Iron Hands, found itself in the crosshairs of the Despoiler himself. In a clash of colossal proportions, the ironclad fist of the sons of Ferrus Manus collided with the malevolent might of the archenemy in the largest armored engagement ever recorded in galactic history. Diamor, a bastion of strength, succumbed to the relentless onslaught of Khorne's horde. The Crimson Slaughter, bloodthirsty savages, clashed with the Blood Angels in a brutal close-quarters war, turning the once pristine battlefield into a blood-drenched nightmare. Even the Phalanx, an indomitable fortress, fell prey to the sinister machinations of the Iron Warriors and Be'lakor. The Sons of Dorn, resolute defenders of their fortress monastery, fought tooth and nail against the demonic and traitorous hordes attempting to seize control of their bastion. The echoes of war resonated across the cosmos, as the fate of each embattled world hung in the balance, each clash shaping the unfolding narrative of a galaxy consumed by chaos. As the war on Cadia raged, the Cadian forces stood unwavering, a bulwark against the relentless onslaught. Traitor forces amassed, battering the defenses across the sectors enveloping the Eye of Terror. The toll of the conflict escalated, both sides grinding each other down in a brutal exchange that left losses scattered like fallen warriors on a cosmic battlefield. Yet the defenders remained steadfast, their resilience unyielding, as they proudly held their ground in the face of an unrelenting onslaught. Amidst the galactic turmoil, however, the Agrippina sector bore witness to dire circumstances. The Terminus Est, flagship of the Death Guard, emerged alongside two titanic blackstone fortresses. The defenders were left reeling, the weight of the enemy's advance bearing down upon them. Despite the ominous turn of events, a stalwart spirit infused the defenders, who stood defiantly against the encroaching darkness. The battle raged on, an interstellar stage where the defenders, though buffeted by the storm of chaos, remained a beacon of stalwart resistance against the cosmic chaos. All the while, the ground war would continue, as the various Castor fortresses would hold. The deadly balancing act of conventional conflict was something that Creed was very well versed in commanding. The Cadian Gate, though battered, would resist the relentless assault. The forces of Cadia, resolute in their defiance, reinforced the broken sections of the gate, with the various fleets and support elements flooding into the sector. Even the feral space wolves of the lost 13th Great Company would appear amongst the Cadian forces, lending the valiant defenders their savage fury to bolster their ranks against the warp filth threatening to overwhelm them. However, the depraved Emperor's children would unleash chaos across the Belisar sector, while the Night Lords would wreak havoc in the Scaris sector despite the valiant and noble efforts of Lord Thibault Helicam. The Alpha Legion, masters of subterfuge and subversion, drew a veil of shadow over any well-thought-out plans, delaying Adeptus Astartes' reinforcements crucial for Creed's cause. Days stretched into weeks, a prolonged wait that tested the resolve of Cadia and its stoic guardians. Despite the opposition, they did not falter. They stood, unwavering, holding fast like a bulwark against wave after wave of debauched attackers. As the cultists and remaining cataphracts were repelled, for a single fleeting moment, however, some in the Cadian leadership began to believe that the war was going to be over soon. Yet Creed knew better.
Those idiots are still at it, I see.
The archenemy is in retreat, pulling off-world. You told them to enjoy themselves.
I said to enjoy it while it lasts. There's a difference. I know shock troopers can't do anything in moderation, but I didn't mean for them to undermine readiness. This isn't over.
So a night of venting heat will be good for morale, especially if this isn't over.
Still, move Reverie up an hour tomorrow morning. They can have their fun tonight, but I want them to feel it.
Report from South Primus. The Volscani are holding on. They don't seem to be running with the mutants and irregular cultist militias.
Under all the spikes and blood runes, they're still guardsmen. That's what makes them dangerous. Any word from Admiral Quarren and the picket fleet?
No, sir, but he should have established his blockade at the Eye of Terror by now.
Let's hope that I'm being paranoid.
It's true what the War Council says, you know. The forces that hit us were commensurate with previous Black Crusades. Larger, even.
Not you too, Jaren.
It is possible he was killed in the Eye, fighting some other warlord. It's happened before.
You can't believe that. Tell me this. If this was the main arch-enemy attack, where are the Terminators? Where are the waves of Black Legion? The warp engines? We've had cultists and mutants, traitor Astartes in tactical roles, but you're telling me the arch-enemy leadership spent centuries building this force, then never landed here in person. No one can explain that to me. Not any of them. Not the Navy. Not the Aeronautica. Not Militarum Intelligence or the Scholastica Psychana or the demigods of the Adeptus Astartes. None of them can tell me the one thrown-down thing I want to know. Where is Abaddon?
Amidst the momentary respite within Cadian High Command, and even beyond Creed's steadfast resolve, unseen forces orchestrated their designs. On the Eldari Crone world of Belial IV, the Wordbearers, under the command of the vile traitor Erebus, embarked on the construction of an unholy temple dedicated to their insatiable and malevolent gods. The White Scars and Doom Eagles initiated a thunderous counterattack against these dark ritual sites. However, their efforts would fall short in the face of a looming warp storm, a malign force that stabilized and empowered the demonic presence in the surrounding sectors. As the warp storm fully materialized, panic swept through the ranks, providing an opening for the Death Guard to smash through the tattered remains of the Agrippina sector's defenses. The Space Wolves and Dark Angels, along with the arrival of Lord Inquisitor Torque Mata Codiaz and a strike force of formidable Grey Knights, engaged in a brutal conflict against the putrid forces of the Death Guard. Twisted metal clashed with decaying flesh in a grim vision of desperate warfare. However, Erebus, having completed his dark ritual, reinforced the Death Guard in the Agrippina sector, shattering any hope for its continued resistance.
The great powers will be pleased.
The Lord Inquisitor, compelled to defend Kasserholm, found himself isolated as the Wolves and Dark Angels redirected their efforts towards the Cadian system. Simultaneously, the Black Templars, spurred on by the pursuit of the Green Crusade, added another layer of complexity to this unfolding galactic turmoil. Gazkul Thraka seized this opportunity to showcase his might and assert dominance in the ever-escalating cosmic tragedy. The scope of the conflict began to get larger and larger, and the stage was set for a cascade of conflicts, where the forces of chaos and order collided in a crescendo of war, leaving the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. As the smoke of battle cleared, a momentary calm descended upon the ravaged surface of Cadia. Forces regrouping amidst the scars of conflict cast an illusion of respite, yet beneath the surface, a quiet storm brewed, a precursor to a more relentless war yet to unfold. In the shadowed sectors surrounding Cadia, the pylons, vital anti-warp engines, began to strain under the weight of the chaotic incursions. The black stone fortresses of the Despoiler wreaked havoc, shattering their defensive barriers and obliterating the warp-teetering Necron engines into billions of melting shards. Abaddon the Despoiler, Warmaster of Chaos and former son of the Arch-Traitor, approached Cadia aboard his looming Blackstone fortress, the Will of Eternity. The final invasion was imminent. Orbital defense platforms were washed away by the tide of warp-twisted abominations, as the planet shuddered beneath the hammer of the Warmaster's orbital bombardment. The planetary shield of Cadia, created by the Adeptus Mechanicus, would become a last bastion of defense, thwarting the apocalyptic reign of destruction, forcing the conflict into the realm of conventional warfare, at least for now. In response, Creed, the Man of Stone, rallied the forces in the area, yet the defense was a fractured tapestry, woven with disparate threads. The Black Templars, the Space Wolves' 12th Company, the Iron Wolves, the Dark Angels' 4th Company, a strike force of the Raven Guard, the Order of Our Martyred Lady, and the Mechanicum all bore their Virgin aims. For Creed, Castle Craft stood as the final bastion, the last stand against the encroaching, all-consuming darkness. As the ground forces scrambled, the war high above the battlefield would become the single largest recorded aerial deployment in the history of Cadia, blackening the very sky with swarms of ricocheting missiles and swarms of barraging bombers. Amongst the turmoil, a desperate gambit unfolded. The Wolves, alongside remnants of the Cadian 13th Regiment and Mechanicum Scutari, embarked on a forlorn boarding action against the looming Blackstone Fortress. A daring assault painted against the cosmic canvas, it would be a move that echoed with desperation. Yet from the swirling darkness, the Despoiler emerged, intercepting this audacious act personally. The Despoiler's wrath on full display, just waiting to be answered.
Senate, what is happening?
It's unclear. Unknown resonance. Macros has managed cracking the vaults, releasing coolant.
Call the restoration scarabs.
Not responding. Our Nolo program misinterpreted the vibration as reinternment signals. The Legion is under radical shutdown. I cannot rouse them. It's not Tectonic Lord. It's coming from the gallery.
Where?
The Black Crusade wing.
That's only 2 levels down.
What?
Senate, the stasis field has failed. Hard restart.
The field is active. Movement should be impossible.
Not impossible. Warpcraft. When the ringing stops, I want that relic out of here. Cast it through the webway portal. Let it bedevil the Eldari. But before that, prepare the Lord of Antiquity for sale.
You are leaving Solomon's Lord Alchemist? In such a state?
If that bell foretells what I think it does, it means a cataclysm of historic proportions, one that would be most fascinating to observe up close. The legions are inactivated, I see. What about the galleries?
The only close connection remains untouched. The unfolded dimension seems less affected. The Horus Heresy exhibit, the Terran artifacts, and of course, the special acquisitions.
It will have to do. Get me a complement of mind-shackle scarabs. Come, Huntmaster. I dare say there will be a game big enough even for you.
In the forgotten sanctums of Ariad 6, Archmagos Belisarius Kall found himself visited by a mysterious harlequin, an unknowable figure speaking only in complex and esoteric riddles. The ethereal being instructed him to uncover the long-lost Necron pylons in a world ravaged during the Fourth Black Crusade. Intrigued, Kall delved into the secrets of the arcane pylons, his resolve solidifying with newfound purpose. His journey led him to Cadia, where the fortress world awaited the revelation of these ancient artifacts, and their potential to fortify its defenses under the scrutiny of Kall's obsession. But the Phalanx, triumphant against the relentless Iron Warriors, descended upon the Cadian system under the spectral guidance of the Legion of the Damned. In their glorious arrival, they set ablaze the Blackstone Fortress, unleashing a bombardment that scarred the obsidian hull of the mighty structure. The arrival of the Phalanx, coupled with reinforcements from the Imperial Fists, finally granted the Imperial forces at Castle Craft the air superiority they so desperately needed. But amidst the celestial dance, Trajan the Infinite, a 60-million-year-old custodian of knowledge and current leader of the Nikolaic dynasty, hurtled towards Cadia, recognizing the pylons as the key to stemming the Eye's unopposed expansion across the galaxy. As the ground quivered with the onset of invasion, Black Legion and traitor forces ascended, casting a shadow over Craft's horizons. The Hounds of Abaddon began to assail the fortress walls, bringing them nearly to their knees. Yet an ember of hope rekindled in the form of Saint Celestine, whose celestial prowess extinguished the demon prince Ercanthos, momentarily halting the traitor advance. Not only this, but reinforcements would begin to touch down from the Imperial and Crimson Fists, as well as the dauntless Night House Tyrannus. The tide would finally begin to turn in the favor of the Imperial forces. However, even with the minor setback, the ruinous power's insatiability birthed swirls of gnawing portals, spewing forth abhorrent entities to assail the defenders. Amid the strategical chaos of the Imperial Command Bastion, Inquisitor Talia Diverna delivered grim tidings to Castellan Creed.
I'm not going to circle it, Creed. I don't think either of us has the time for that.
So don't circle.
I've picked up anomalous troop movements. Assets that are not where they're supposed to be.
The Salvation Outposts are reserves. You knew about that. One of the few who did.
My sources say there are anomalous movements. secret orders, fields being cleared.
The new airfields, you mean?
You thrown damned, no, I don't mean the new airfields. I've lived my entire life on Cadia. You think I don't know the difference between a dirt airfield and a surface-to-space embarkation field? Tell me it's not what I think. Tell me it's not exactly what it looks like.
It's not.
You know that can't happen. You got the same briefing every Lord Castellan receives. Hells, I gave it to you myself. There are certain contingencies in place in case Cadia is ever in extremis diabolis, and you know very well what they are.
I know the plans, and no, they are not what you think. I should have briefed you. I apologize. Here's the truth. We know that the war is not done here, but there's no guarantee the next battle will be in the Craft region. It could be back on Cadia Primus, Tertius. Hells, it could be up in orbit, or on the Blackstone Fortress for all we know. That might even be preferable. So we need low void transports for repositioning purposes. Better to take troops up and into orbit than back down halfway around the planet, then try to fly atmospherically, faster, and it avoids the swarms of terrestrial enemy fighter craft. Or we could get up into the ships to assist them in Void War. That's all it is, Talia.
Are you lying to me, Creed?
I have no talent for lying. You know that.
Any contact with warp entities this extreme, on any planet, would require mass troop purges or sector sterilizations from orbit. Indeed, it's amazing that in its history, Cadia has never needed to execute that before. But we've also never had demon manifestations this widespread before. We are already looking at the need for quarantine and selective mass executions at the very least. But if warp entities continue manifesting as they have been, the extremis protocols must be followed.
General virus bombing. We defeat the Despoiler, and you wipe us all out from orbit, you mean? Ruin the finest fortress world of the Imperium and the recruiting base for the hardest assault infantry in the Militarum.
We have to think about the big picture. The world would be resettled. There are more Cadians off-planet than on these days anyway. Generations of troop musters have ensured that, and we wouldn't be running the risk of exporting tainted soldiers to every battle sector across the Imperial domain.
You'd seriously do that?
No. Not me personally. I've had mass demon contact too, you know. If it happens, I'll be on the ground with the rest of the poor bastards. But if it needs to be done, it must be done. You understand that if it reaches that point, you cannot have contingencies. I need to hear you say it, Creed. The words need to come out of your mouth, so I know you understand.
No evacuation.
Belisarius Cawl would make contact with the Lord Castellan, arranging a meeting with the Defense Council, consisting of Wolf Lord Hyfel, Tor Garadon of the Imperial Fists, Cassar Partox of the Crimson Fists, and Baron Ryvan of House Tyrannus. Cawl, with a palpable sense of urgency, unveiled the crucial importance of the pylons, which would become the linchpin of the defense of Cadia. He stressed their significance to those assembled, revealing the relentless pursuit of these structures by Abaddon since the Fourth Black Crusade. The Eye of Terror, the diabolical conduit between realities, was not a hole in our reality, but a hole into theirs. It, if not poached, could cause the galaxy to tear itself apart. Activating the pylons, Cawl asserted, was not merely a defense strategy, but a safeguard against the very fabric of the universe unraveling. With the Elysian Fields being home to the densest concentration of pylons, already under siege and defended by the Legion of the Damned, it became the epicenter of their resistance. Losing the pylons would be catastrophic, condemning vast swaths of the galaxy to horrors of the warp, not to mention the fortress world of Cadia itself. As Cawl embarked on his mission to activate the pylons, the structures interconnected and dormant would await his command. Amidst the subterranean labyrinth, Trazyn the Infinite, a Xenos entity, materialized behind him, offering an unusual aid and unexpected alliance. Despite the animosity between humans and Xenos, their combined efforts would serve to accomplish what might possibly be the last hope for Cadia. Trazyn, a surprising turn, shared more profound insights into the Eye and the pylons. These structures, he revealed, had the power not only to hold back the Eye of Terror, but to seal it permanently. Eccentricities and intelligence melding, Cawl and Trazyn commenced their work to reactivate these monoliths of ancient technology. But above the Elysian Fields, Lord Castellan Creed, having fortified the defenses above the caverns, received warnings of an impending assault by the Black Legion. The Warmaster Abaddon spearheaded the charge, as the warp fire began to unfurl from reality, revealing the gargantuan silhouette of the Warmaster. The Lord Castellan ran, as Jaren Kell, the right-hand man of Creed, faced down the Despoiler as he skewered him on the lightning claw that had cut down thousands of men and even clipped the wings of an angel. But as he made his way through the murky caverns below, Abaddon would encounter Trazyn himself.
Oh, Yes, what a centerpiece you would make.
Repel the Horisian traitors! Remember Kauth! You. When I drag you before the Emperor, brother, you'll wish that I had killed you for these crimes. You'll not reach Terra, Ezekiel, nor Horus, Gilliman. The Primarch will stop you.
There are no more Primarchs, brother. No Horus, no Gilliman, no Emperor. That time is gone, and the galaxy still burns. It is kinder that I slay you in your ignorance.
Amidst the chaos of battle, the unyielding forces under Trajan's command held the traitors at bay. As the pulsating energy of the pylons surged, an awe-inspiring spectacle would begin to unfold. The pylons would crack to life, and the Eye of Terror began to recoil in disgust when faced with the warped, deadening energies of the pylons. The demonic hordes, ensnared by their radiant beams, began to unravel, their monstrous forms dissipating back into the ethereal currents from whence they were spawned. The very fabric of reality stitched itself together as the pylons worked their arcane magic, banishing the abominations from the mortal realm. In the relentless skirmish, the Warmaster would catch sight of Lord Castellan Creed. An infernal determination in Abaddon's eyes, he began to barrel towards Creed, himself being the chosen instrument of chaos descending onto him with palpable malice. The 8th Cadian Regiment valiantly unleashed barrage after barrage of las and heavy bolter fire, creating a tempest around the Warmaster, yet unable to slow his advance. In the direst moment, when all seemed lost, Saint Celestine, guided by the Emperor's light, manifested in a divine intervention that momentarily halted Abaddon's relentless onslaught. The monumental struggle between light and darkness would unfold in the heart of Cadia's defense, with each slash and parry seeming to resonate within the shutters of the activated pylons.
I will have you all, Cadians. I will have your bones and your blood, your screams and your useless prayers. I will have your lives and your world. Ah, the masquerade saint. Nothing but the dream of a dead thing on a living throne.
You strike with words because you dare not strike with blows. I am an angel. You hear me.
I knew an angel, and you are no angel.
The archenemy fleet is moving in. Not as a screen, as a projectile. He's going to drop the throne damn thing on us!
In the final throes of spite, Abaddon, having lost the upper hand to unforeseen forces, played his final gambit. He seized his broken Blackstone fortress, wielding it as a malevolent battering ram against the besieged planet. A cataclysmic act fueled by wrath and unbridled rage against his sworn foe. The hurtling chunks of the fortress, strapped with massive engines, were launched like celestial projectiles into the defenders' positions. Time, an ever-dwindling resource, cast a shadow over the warriors of Cadia, and the inevitable fall of the Blackstone fortress loomed like an inexorable fate. At the end of a long war, a war that had been fought by their parents, grandparents, and those that would come after them, the defenders stood at the precipice, faced with a harrowing choice. With the looming need for evacuation and impending doom rapidly closing in, the defenders grapple with the ultimate decision: to retreat from the world they had valiantly safeguarded for countless years, or to stand defiant, embracing the planet's fate as their own.
I'm going to call it. Protocol Evacuation Order Chrysanthus. Logistar General.
Trone, so you are alive.
Is everything ready?
It is. I've already sent them to your positions, but we need the code word if they're going to take off.
Attention all units. Negative Chrysanthus. This is Inquisitorial Legate Talia Diverna of the Order Hereticus. Rosette number 9588/D7. I have inquisitorial jurisdiction for this sector from an order dating to 897.M41, including override power. Negative on code word Chrysanthus. This planet is under full quarantine due to the spiritual pollution via overwhelming demonic manifestation. With the force of the God Emperor's Holy Church and the Order Hereticus, I inform all Adeptus Sororitas on Cadia that it is their sworn duty to ensure none escape this quarantine. We have fought together for the Emperor, now let us serve him by dying together as well. Furthermore, Attention all units. Disregard negative Chrysanthus order and quarantine restrictions. This was broadcast in error. Stand by for orders. Who dares contravene an inquisitorial mandate? Identify yourself, broadcaster. This is Katarina Greyfax of the Ordo Hereticus, Rosette number 7134/S3. I have inquisitorial jurisdiction over this sector, dating since before you were born, and declare your quarantine order null and void. Sororitas, you are not cleared to engage friendly forces. Logistar General?
Yes, Inquisitor.
All units, Chrysanthus, 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 get us off this rock.
The Blackstone Fortress plummeted towards the planet, its visage getting ever larger to those below before it buried itself deep into the surface of Cadia. Its pointed structure digging into the planet's crust, rendering it asunder in a ferocious manner, showering those that survived the impact of the colossal incarnation of Abaddon's spite. The planet cracked, beginning to split apart as the continents and chunks of the fortress world began falling into the black void of space, the defenders still fighting despite their planet splintering before their very eyes. The annihilation of Cadia Tertius reverberated through the very tectonic plates of the shattering planet, disrupting the pylons and finally silencing their ancient and potent null fields. As the Imperial Fist Thunderhawks descended, platoons of Cadian shock troops boarded, their urgent evacuation guided by the unwavering presence of Ursakar Creed. Broken but unbowed, Creed upheld the line, ensuring every Cadian departed the crumbling planet. Amidst the chaos of cultist advances and desperate retreats, Creed remained steadfast. He did not waver, for his duty was clear, holding firm to his solemn vow to be the first one in and the last one out. Cadia, his cherished home, would not be forsaken. In the face of inevitable destruction, Creed stood immovable, determined to carry the essence of his home with him into the God Emperor's guided afterlife. Ursakar E. Creed was a stalwart beacon of duty, a man made a hero by circumstance, not only led by example, but would become the example. And as the rest of the planet fell in on itself, the Eye of Terror swelled. It would pulse and boil until it spread like a virus across the galactic plane, engulfing thousands of worlds from Cadia itself to past Macragge. Cadia was gone, but it still stands eternal. Cadia, in its memory, stands defiant in the memory of those who fought there and who survived and would live to tell the tale. But to those receiving the tale, they would come to realize that from this point onward, in the absence of Cadia and those who would defend it, they found that in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
My dear Archmagos Dominus, I do not think that you will be needing that order code you're drafting. I have instructed the Lord of Antiquity to fix a teleportation matrix on our position. I think it will be more comfortable for you than traveling via the hyperspace oubliette.
Are you kidnapping me, Xenos? Taking me for your little collection?
It is not little. And no, I'm not engaging in anything so base as kidnapping. Consider it an invitation.
Can I refuse?
It is an obligatory invitation. After all, I have assisted your Imperial faction greatly in this endeavor and lost exhibits because of it. I do not think I should walk away without just compensation. What poor hosts the Cadians would be if they did not let me take a small prize.
You do not want me.
Do I not? Why is that so?
Because I am not yet ripe. I have more to do, further things to accomplish. My significance and historical value would only grow. Take me in a century or two, when I am more accomplished, and the catch would be all the greater.
Ah, I have heard this tale before when I studied your Far E tales. Eat me when I'm fatter, says the boy to the witch, and devour my little brother instead, says the little zote. I know how this ends. No, I don't think so.
Yes, but in all that time there will never be anything quite like Cadia, a historical event like this. Well, it is unfortunate, I admit, not to have a piece of it for your collection. But you don't want me, a tertiary figure at best, didn't arrive until after the siege of Kraf. No, you want a figure of significance, a central symbol of the battle.
who embodies what happened here. One that will not be contributing anymore to this galaxy. You want a man, for lack of a better term, who is Cadia. Leave me be. Do not touch my ship, and I will give you a whole galaxy of things to play with.
Perhaps. I will wait. I need the next zone.
After a long and tedious 2 months of constant sweating, long nights, 2 near mental breakdowns, and talking to some of the most amazing people in the entire 40k community, I hope you enjoyed our Fall of Cadia movie. With over 800 hours of recorded work, more than 20 voice actors and 15,000 words in script, I want to thank everyone in the Pictura Imperialis team for their dedication, feedback and time. I couldn't have done it without you guys. And genuinely, Dominus, you are the sole reason we were able to complete this massive project. Thank you brothers, sisters, servitors and lords. It means the world to me that you are willing to help out. And thank you, the amazing audience, for sticking until the end. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. A list of everyone that has worked on the project will be shown momentarily, so give them a subscribe or like when you get the chance. They absolutely deserve it. Thank you again for watching and see you guys next time. Bye bye.